Yo, what is happening, people? Welcome back to Kibla Ahmed Arch. G-Man out here. Why the hell is the camera blurry? Oh, there we go. G-Man out here in Hong Kong. Hope you guys are well. Hope everything's going good. First of all, thank you all you subscribers, all you viewers, everyone who likes and dislikes and comments and just supports the channel, supports what Kibla's been doing is much appreciated. Stripes, much love. This is a review on the movie Big Brother. Donnie Yang's movie Big Brother that just came out in Hong Kong this week. I'm a huge Donnie Yang fan, so I had to go watch it, I had to check it out. This is a spoiler review. It's a spoiler review because it has to be, because there's a couple things I need to talk about. I've always wanted to talk about, but I didn't just want to rant for no reason about certain things. But this movie and some of the topics that came up in this movie and some of the topics that this movie touched on, I think has now given me an opportunity to kind of talk about these things. So yes, it's a spoiler review, guys. So if you haven't seen it and you are going to go watch it, then go check it. If you ain't going to see it, then well, listen to my spoiler review. It might inspire you to go check it out. So as a movie, let's just discuss it as a movie real quick and what I thought of it as a movie. I'm a Donnie Yen fan, so I'm gonna watch it. I'm just gonna support. Turn off the aircon, man, making noise. So it was fun. It was entertaining. It was the martial arts. There wasn't much martial arts in it. There was a bit of fight scenes in it and whatnot. But I love his style of fighting. As a movie, it was okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like some of the scenes might have been kind of cheesy. Well, you might say it's kind of cheesy, but the topics that it touched on and the whole plot of the movie, which was brilliant, which was great, it was inspiring. I grew up with, when I say this, I grew up with certain Hong Kong movies, right? Chow Yun-fat movies, John Woo movies, Better Tomorrow, The Killer, a lot of Hong Kong martial art movies. But there's not a lot of there's a lot of Hong Kong movies that I haven't seen, so I don't know if there are a lot of Hong Kong movies that touch on these certain subjects that this movie did, and I'm gonna kind of elaborate on. But I'm sure there are. But anyway, this was the first one that I've seen, and I thought it was pretty brilliant. Quick synopsis of the movie: he's an ex-military guy. Again, like I said, spoiler alerts, guys. Ex-military guy. As a kid, he was a troubled kid, and then they sent him to the US military. He was living with his aunt. I think did his parents die? I can't remember. His parents died or something. He was living with his aunt. They sent him to a US military. Through there, he kind of saw the world. He saw the ugliness of the world through war. And he was inspired by his principal, who just gave him inspirational words saying, "You can do it." Basically, make something of himself. So after his seeing the horribleness of the world through war, he traveled the world to find good, Anyway, from that, he becomes a teacher and he wants to inspire. He goes back to the school that he was a troubled kid from, and he wants to basically inspire. And he basically wants to, basically he touches on like the education system in Hong Kong is basic, right? Guys, but before I rant on, I have to say, I am not a Hong Kong local, right? I'm talking just from my experience. Right? I was born and raised in the UK, London, Tottenham, represent. That's what I know. The environment I know is from there. I've been in Hong Kong for the last 4 years. So I'm going to talk on the experiences that I personally gone through and that I've seen and spoken to locals and whatnot. So I could get shit wrong. I could be completely wrong about everything because I'm not a local, right? At the end of the day, I haven't been to the school system here. So I could be just talking shit, but this is just from my, like I said, experience and talking to people and stuff like that. So excuse me if I'm wrong, and if I am, and you have a different perspective, please comment, and it'll be great to even meet up and discuss this shit. But yeah, anyway, he discussed on how the education system in Hong Kong is shit. It's not inspirational. It's not allowing kids to open their mind and give them the free will to be whoever they want to be. And I think education around the world is fucked up, right? This education system around the world is fucked up. It's very robotic. It's very what do you call it? Systematic. There's no open or free mind. You go to school, you do these subjects, you learn specific things about these subjects. None of them are real life. None of them teach you about real life. There should be. I've always said this in school. There should be a class that's fucking cool, real life. the real shit. Someone comes in and talks to you about how you got to pay bills and shit doesn't work out. Try and look for a job. You go to a job interview, it doesn't work out. You know, like I said, you got to pay bills. You gonna try and get married. You're gonna try and have kids. You might even divorce, and life hits you in the fucking head. Like Rocky said, man, nothing hits you harder than life. Shit, I fucked up, caught up. But you know what I'm saying? Nothing hits you more harder than life, but it's about getting hit and getting back up. Something like that. Anyway, I've always said this. So he touches on how the education system is basic in Hong Kong, and then he touches on other things within different students within Hong Kong. You know, for example, and this is something that I can kind of relate to from my experiences in Hong Kong. There was a Pakistani kid in the movie. Kind of looked like a mixed race kid between a black and Chinese person. But anyway, that doesn't matter. He came across a Pakistani student, and his story was he was expressing that he considers himself as a Hong Kong local. You know, I mean, his grandparents came to Hong Kong, and he considered himself a Hong Kong local. But from his experience, he goes through, people don't accept him because of his skin color or whatnot, and his Cantonese might not be as perfect, but he still does it. But he has a dream to be a Cantonese pop singer. He's always getting stopped and searched by the police. Again, this is experiences I've gone through in my 4 years of being here, right? My friends always hear me talk about, fuck the police, always pulling me over and shit, stopping me and stuff. But anyway, we'll get onto that in a bit. And then there was other things about other kids who, you know, their parents, their, you know, dads are fucking drunk and whatnot, and that's not looking after them. One of them, their grandmother's working hard for him, and it's another thing you've seen in Hong Kong. I've seen, sorry, in Hong Kong, is that you see a lot of old people pushing these like uphill, these boxes and whatnot. And I've always asked, you know, friends, like, what's up? Where the kids at? Why are these old people doing that? It's like, someone told me the kids just don't care. They just let them go. I don't know the real true story behind that. But people just told me like, hey, look, you know, some of the elderly, especially the ones who don't have as much wealth, they just get left to it. So you've got these old people just picking up boxes in Hong Kong and pushing them and recycling them. And I think they get a bit of money. And then they live in these little box houses or these cage houses, which Hong Kong's known for. So they touched on a little bit on that. It touched on a bit of sexism. Not sexism, is that the right word? I think so. Anyway, the girl's father, one of the girls in the movie, her father didn't really pay much attention to her. Kind of put her in the in like medieval times, like perspective of life. It's like, listen, you're a girl, right? I wanted a boy first, but he got a girl, and he wanted the girl to just do the studies, get married into a rich family, good to go. But he was investing all his time in the boy, in his younger son. Do you know what I mean? So that's something I've heard in Hong Kong as well. But that's, again, guys, everything I'm talking about happens around the world. Happens around the world. The world is good, but the world can also be fucked up, right? And I'm not saying, so shit happens everywhere. Racism happens everywhere. Fucking girls, their parents not treating girls as respectful as the boys, happens everywhere. No place is 100% perfect. However, there's so much good, you have to see the good which overcomes the bad. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'll go into it more, but my experience in Hong Kong, yeah, I've gone through some shit, you know, with the police and people and blah, 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 a bit of racism. People are not good, but I've met so much good people here, and that gives me hope. So that's my love for Hong Kong, the good people. And that's what you have to do. And like I said, no place is perfect. No place is perfect in the world. I haven't been all over the world, but from where I have been, you know, there's levels. There's levels of fucked upness, you know what I'm saying, in the world. This is just my perspective. Remember this. I'm just giving my perspective. There's level of fucked upness in the world. And from where I've been around the world, you know, Japan has been one of the best places. I always rant about how nice Japan is. And I tell all my friends and family, go Japan. Go just experience those people because those people are lovely. They're super nice. But then I've heard some people that's lived there and said, nah, trust me, man. Behind closed doors, they're fucked up. But I'm like, listen, I haven't lived there, so I can't tell you. But from my experience of just visiting the country, super nice people, man. You know what I'm saying? But even Japan can't be at 10. Say 10 is the best. There's no one's going to be at number 10. No country. I'm saying there's fucked upness in the world. And I just feel like, again, this is my perspective. I could be wrong. There's just levels. You see what I'm saying? So I would put Japan, from my holiday experience, about 8. You know what I mean? Super nice. I didn't feel any sort of discrimination against my color, my religion. People were super nice. Everything was amazing. Hong Kong, again, my experience, right? I'm not a local. I could be full of shit. I've met so much amazing people. I'll put Hong Kong below 5, right? From an acceptance perspective. This movie touches on it, right? Like I said, where was I going? Oh yeah, the girl. Yeah. So that was the one, another part. I just wanted to clarify, in the world it's all like this. I'm not just specifically picking on Hong Kong, but it's great that Donnie used his movie and his platform to kind of express this about Hong Kong, because I think people need to get educated. I think that's all it is. I think what he's trying to express in the movie is, in school, the education system is not educating kids in the right way to live an open, honest, humble life. You know what I mean? Where you see everyone as equal, where you have dreams, where you should be inspired to fulfill your dreams, no matter what it is, no matter what the cause, no matter what shit you're going through. And I feel like this sort of education needs to be given in Hong Kong as kids. Yeah, well, I'm running off of the movie. I'm trying to give you the synopsis. Anyway, end of the day, it's an inspiring movie, right? So you can get the drift of it. At the end of the movie, he's going to try and inspire these kids. Excuse me. Yeah, he's going to try and inspire these kids through this movie. So overall, like I said, the movie is not amazing, as in cinematography and blah, blah, blah. But the martial arts scenes are amazing. I love it because I'm a Donnie fan. And the topics he picks on are amazing. But yeah, look, let me go on. Like I said, I'm gonna go on a little rant here. Just because of this movie is touched on these topics, and I think, you know, it gives me an opportunity to. We'll start off with the Pakistani kid, right, and the shit that he's going through. Like I said, just from my experience, right, I've been here for 4 years. When I grew up in London, right, London, Tottenham, from the age of 15 to 21, I would say, yes, I was on the streets. Mostly, and that's because there wasn't much technology and blah blah blah, right? And I'm not saying I was some ghetto kid and start robbing kids and whatnot, but I was on the streets. That's what we do. We'll play and stuff like that, and we'll be in our cars and whatever, and police will stop us. Police will stop us. They'll search us. Blah blah blah. That was through that age, and you know, eventually gets to a point where you're like, fucking hell, man, what the hell? Why am I always getting stopped? Anyway, that stopped at the age of 21. I moved to Hong Kong at the age of 30, which I went 9 years later. I'm an adult now. I have different emotions now, right? My mentality is different. And for 9 years, I haven't been stopped by the police in the UK, right? I started a corporate job. You know, I was more off the streets, work, gym, home, martial arts, that's it. Anyway, come to Hong Kong and I feel like I've gone back in time. Like, because I always get stopped by the police here. When it first happened, in my first year of Hong Kong, I was like, my first couple of years actually, I was like, this is jokes, man. Kept on getting stopped by the police. You're also my ID, which I heard, yes, okay, you have no right to go to a thing, which is cool. But then there was always searching me. Drugs. What are you looking for? Criminal stuff. And at first I was like, this is jokes, man. I'm going back in time. But then when it keeps on happening, you're like, hold on a second. What the fuck is going on? Why am I keep getting stopped by the police? When I first came here, people told me, trust me, man, like, there's a lot of racism, there's a lot of shit that goes on, and I'm like, nah, it can't be, man. I never, you know, really expected it. I've never been here, I've never lived here, but people telling me, locals were telling me and shit. Because of my excitement of the first couple of years of being in this country, I never saw it. But then once the excitement runs out and it became a reality, I was like, holy shit, now I'm seeing it. So I started noticing every couple of weeks I get stopped by the police, you know, and again, it's all looking for criminal stuff. And I get it, yes, there's a lot of Southeast Asians doing criminal shit in this country. Okay, cool. There's a lot of other Chinese people, white people are doing shit too. They're just not getting caught. They're not getting caught because you're not checking them. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, but to be fair, I've seen some Chinese kids in Mong Kok getting searched based on their appearance, I guess. So that's to be fair. So, you know, I'm not saying it's just brown people. I'm not saying just black people. However, I have seen a lot of brown and black people getting searched more than anything else. I've never seen a white person get searched. But what I'm saying is people doing criminal shit in all sorts of race and colours and shit like that. But I'm not going to like go too much into that. But what I'm saying is from my experience, and the same experience that kid was going through in the movie, he was constantly being stopped by the police. He never fitted into the culture because of his skin colour, the way he looked. and what he wanted to be, a pop star, he thought he would never be accepted, which brought his confidence down. He never got accepted because people would laugh at him, right? And they'll make fun of him, even call him a terrorist and shit because he has a Pakistani background. So I made a fresh cup of tea for this because I wanted to talk. So anyway, yeah, so I thought that was great because I feel like people need to be educated. Well, from the school system, people need to be educated on how you should treat other people from different races and religions and backgrounds and whatnot, because that's important, man. And kids are not born racist. Kids are not born racist. They're educated racist. Like I said, it's not the most racist country I've been to, but it falls, for me, it falls below the 5 mark. You know what I'm saying? Saying 10 is the best, making that shit up. It falls beneath the 5 mark from the experiences that I've gone through. You know, I'm not going to go through my experiences, but that's what I'm saying. That's from my experience. So, you know, I thought that was great. And then Donnie Yang inspired this kid to basically be confident with his singing. And, he made him sing. And at the end, the kid, you know, he felt more confident that he was a part of society here. I do feel like I said, like, the racism, you can't be taught that. I mean, you're not born that, you're taught that. And I feel in the school system, if they took a bit of initiative to educate kids with the right mentality, then that'd be good. Because I've heard some fucked up shit here, man. Even from the, like, you know, people I know here, they're like, listen, we're educated with the fact that the fairer your skin is, the more richer you are, the more healthier you are, the more beautiful you are. That's the mentality it's in the head. The fairy shit. In my brown face, people tell me this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? You telling me this in my brown face? What you trying to say? I'm an ugly, poor, brown motherfucker? But it's not like, you know, I don't want to say it's a hate. It's not a hate. It's what they've been educated with. So it feels comfortable to say it in my brown face. Like that's what we were educated with. You know what I'm saying? So this sort of education needs to be you know, you need to get rid of this education of that sort of perspective, you know what I'm saying? And again, this is around the world, it's not just Hong Kong, like, not just China. I know this shit happens in fucking India and Africa and stuff like that. So that's the mentality around the world. We've been brainwashed with that bullshit. I don't know why. I mean, I know why. I think I know why. It's history, right? Fuck, I'm not gonna go into it. It's history. But we're in 2018. Like, get over that shit, man. Fucking hell. Anyway, there's hope. The thing is, the reason why I say there's hope is because I've seen mixed race couples. I have seen mixed race couples in regards to coloured and Chinese. I've met girls here who are open to date brown guys and don't mind having brown children and all that sort of stuff. So that's hope. You know what I'm trying to say? That's hope. As knowing those people exist, you're like, okay, oh cool. That in generations, if you know, regardless if they end up with a brown guy or not, right? They're gonna educate their children. Hopefully, they will share the same education that they have in their head of, listen, everyone's equal. Don't look at white as white. And you know, I'm not being anti-white, by the way. I know even white people go through racism. I know this shit. But what I'm saying is that mentality of your fair skin and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, wicked, man. It's nice to know there's hope out there because of these generations. Some of these people in this generation exist. They just got to educate the generations, the future generations are coming. And one day, it hopefully will get to that point where it will truly be a multicultural, diverse culture in Hong Kong. And like I said, you know, brown people, yes, do criminal shit here, but, you know, just from my perspective, when you don't get an opportunity and you gotta survive, you have no fucking choice to steal a loaf of bread or something, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me. This is what I think. Again, I could be wrong. You know, just here's an example, you know, say for example, HSBC has a job opening, you know, a Pakistani guy who was born and raised here, speaks Cantonese, then they got Chinese person or white person, you know, from what I've observed in my last 4 years and from the information and the intel I got in, the Pakistani guy won't be even looked at, right? And that's what I'm saying. When you go through that and you're just like, well, what's the point even applying for this job? These guys are not even gonna look at me. You have no choice. If you want to survive, you have no choice. and then you end up in the bad line of shit, and then you become a criminal just for survival. And don't get me wrong, there are fucking just criminals out there who just want to be bad, but they come in all fucking races and colours and sizes and everything anyway. I mean, that's something that I wanted to touch on. In regards to the females not being, you know, I think that is definitely, I've heard of it. I've heard of that sort of stuff. Again, it's another thing that happens around the world, not just in China and Hong Kong. I think in Hong Kong, if I was to score it, again, from my perspective, I think it's not that bad, actually. I'll put that above 5. I'll put that like 6 point. I'll put that 7, actually. I've heard some girls say that, you know, they not looked at the same as the kid, as a son, but in general it's fine. That 7's a low score. I think 8 is good. I think it's good here. I mean, I've come across some, like I said, but mostly girls here, they have the good opportunities. Like, when I say good opportunities, from their parents, their dads look at them. Don't try to favoritize their son over their daughters. You know what I mean? But I've heard some instances where it's like, you know, they weren't wanted. You know, the dad wanted a son first, and it's kind of fucked up. But you know what? That like I said, that happens around the world. You know, I'm not gonna, like the Arab culture, for example. You know, that's a big thing there. They want his kids. You know, not to get too religious or anything, but one of the first tasks the Prophet Muhammad, may he rest in peace, was to stop the Arabs killing their daughters. You know, back in the days, this is what would happen. That when the wife gives birth, and it was a daughter, they'll kill the daughters, man, because they wanted sons. You know, that was the Arab culture. But then even in English history, Henry VIII, motherfucker killed 8 of his wives. He beheaded his wives because they couldn't give birth to a boy. You know, it's fucked up. That's another history thing. You know what I'm trying to say? That's another history thing. That's got nothing to do with. It's another education thing that come through history. It's fucking stupid. Anyway, that's that. So yeah, but I mean, what was the other thing? The grandmas the old ladies and the old men, and mostly the old ladies, I see you picking up the boxes and pushing them and shit. I like I said, I've heard from people. I really don't know if it's you know, what it is really, if it's really they've been forgotten about, but they gotta have kids somewhere. I mean, I just can't believe they're just doing that, man. When I mean old, I'm talking about old where you're, like, you know, when someone gets so old, their posture turns that way. That's what I'm trying to say, that kind of old. And they're just collecting boxes and then pushing them down the streets, and then, like, it's deep, man. It's fucked up. It's fucked up, man. I've helped a few, you know, when I see them picking up boxes, I'm like, man, let me just help you out here. But I don't know, man. I'm just like, this is deep. And I've always asked my mates, like, what's this about? And again, they're just like, you know, the kids don't fucking care, man. And I'm like, that's fucked up. How could you not care? I don't know, maybe it is a class. I mean, Hong Kong is a very classism sort of culture. You know what I mean? They see people want to be higher than everyone else. Again, from my perspective, from what I've observed. So maybe that's what it is, you know. If you're in that lower class, it's like, we don't give a fuck about you. You know what I'm saying? So overall, I think what Donnie Yen was trying to impose in this movie was, we need to educate our children in Hong Kong, from the perspective of Hong Kong, on how to be more inspired, do what you want, dream of what you want to do, and pursue that dream. Help the kids find that opportunity. When they feel like, no, I don't have that opportunity, it's not going to work out, inspire them and kind of focus them in the right direction to find that opportunity. You know what I mean? And that's what the school system should do, and educate the children to be more like culturally open, be more what's the word I'm looking for, considerate to other human beings. You know, again this is, I didn't go to local school here, so I don't know, but again, this is from my perspective with interaction with local people here. Not even just locals, you know, even kids that's gone to international schools and all that sort of shit. I think kids are being educated in the sense of, you're number one, survival of the motherfucking fittest, right? Like, don't, like, fuck everyone else, right? That's why I feel like there's no consideration here, where people don't really look out for one another. People don't give a fuck about one another. Like I said, I'm from the UK, so I come from a different background. So to people here, it's normal, right? So I'm not saying that it's not, but I think being considerate as a human being, being not considerate as a human being, I don't want to say that's a cultural thing. When people say, no, it's a cultural thing, I'm like, man, I don't know, man, because being considerate to another human being, that's a human being thing. That's like not a cultural thing. That's the way I see it, you know. So like even like simple things, and I'm sure a lot of people, if you might have seen this in Hong Kong as well, it's like, you know, when I walk through a door, for example, right, in the UK where I was growing up, my parents and my teachers even, and people just around in general in London, right? London's an aggressive city, but I tell you something, people are nice to each other, right? Going through a door, my natural reaction is I take a look to see if anyone's behind me. Male, female, old, young, whatever. If I see someone behind me, I hold the door open. Just a natural thing, like it's a natural consideration to the next human being that's coming through that door. You know what I'm trying to say? Like in Hong Kong, that does not happen. I've seen some fucked up shit where I've seen like I witnessed a woman trying to go through a door. She's trying to open the door. She's got shopping bags and a young kid. And this young dude, right, is walking behind her. And rather than opening the door and holding the door for her to get in, my man goes through the next door to help himself. And I'm looking from behind thinking, motherfucker. And I came through the door and I was like, you're a dick. And this was me being a fucking idiot. I shouldn't have said something. Or I should have said it nicely. So I am an idiot as well. But I just said, you're a fucking dickhead, man. Like, how could you not open the door for the lady? You saw her struggling. I approached it aggressively. I should have tried to educate him. That's me being an idiot. Anyway, I was wrong. Simple. But I should have educated him and said, listen, man, I know you were brought up differently here, but when you see that, you got to open the door, man. It's just being a nice human being. It's being a fucking gentleman. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was taught back in the UK, in London. Like I said, London can be an aggressive city, yes. New York can be an aggressive city, yes. But people are generally more considerate to each other. You know what I mean? They're generally more polite to each other. There's that please, that thank you, opening the door for someone, letting people off a train before they get on. Like, there's like sort of consideration. And I feel like, again, this might be my perspective. This is my perspective. I feel like, and I could be wrong, that because in London and New York, you can fight. People here in Hong Kong, what I love about it, there's no fights, man. Nobody fights. Obviously, somewhere someone's fighting, but what I'm saying, the level of people actually getting into fist fights is less here, because people don't fight, and I love that about Hong Kong. It's fucking safe. In London, New York, you do something stupid, step on someone's shoes, you get in someone's way, you're getting into a fight. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel that almost has a positive reaction on people. Where in London, New York, you're more considerate to people, because you know if you're gonna be a dickhead, you're gonna get into a fight. If you're not considerate, if you do something stupid that's not considerate to other human beings, someone's gonna tell you something, and you better be prepared to either take that, or if you give it back, you're gonna be prepared to fight. Whereas in Hong Kong, because people are not considerate to each other, or because there's no one like fighting, like there's no thought of like, because there's no fights here, people don't give a fuck if they're considerate to other people, because they know like, no one ain't gonna do shit. Does that make sense? Like, I'm talking, it's bad, like, well, I'm not trying to encourage fighting, but what I'm saying is because nobody here knows that they're not gonna get slapped by someone, they just feel like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about anyone else. Well, if you did that shit in London, you're gonna get slapped. You know what I'm saying? I'm not encouraging fighting. It's probably a wrong way of thinking, but I do think that does have something to do with it. Because like I said, if you're in London, if you do a basic maneuver, you're going to get clapped in the head. Simple. In Hong Kong, if you do a basic maneuver, you're not going to get clapped. And I feel like if more people get clapped in the head, they're going to learn. You're going to learn today. Trust me. I'm not encouraging fighting. That is a stupid perspective. I know that. It's probably wrong. But I do feel that has something to do with the human mind frame and emotions, that has something to do with consideration with people here. But I mean, overall, it's the education system. You need to educate the children from the beginning of how to treat people, of how to treat like other people, cultures, races, religions, women, and just inspire kids, man. You know, I've wanted to talk about this for ages, but like I said, I've never had a reason to, and I didn't want to just say, hey, welcome to Qibla Ahmeda. fuck this. Like, this movie has touched on these topics, which has allowed me to kind of express myself. You know, like I say, I've been here for 4 years. I've gone through shit here myself. I can't believe it, right? Like, shit that I didn't expect. And like I said, as an adult, my mind frame is different. Whereas back in the days, you just kind of like brush it off. You'd be like, fuck you, man, let's go. But now as an adult, it's more like, this is fucking deep. Like, why am I going through this shit? You know what I mean? My mind frames is different. I don't know the body scientifically, but I feel like different chemicals are running through my body and my brain to acknowledge, wait a minute, what the fuck? Why am I getting stopped and searched again? Like, it's weird. So yeah, I feel like this movie gave me the opportunity to chat about these things. Overall, listen, you know, I'm not judging everyone. You can't do that shit. Like, that's like a stupid thing to do. So I'm not judging everyone. There's so much amazing people here. I've already mentioned I've met some amazing people here. And that's what gives you hope, you know, for every country you go to. Every fucked up place you go to, there's always hope there. And that's where you should be looking at. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be good and bad everywhere you go in the world. And, you know, there's hope with people. My belief is with people. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you meet someone good, you know, that's what you should be inspired by. I'm always inspired by good people. Whatever color you are, whatever religion you are, race, whatever, I see good, I'm inspired by that. Even though, yes, I'm a Muslim, I follow Islam, I have my faith in God. I get my inspiration from the Islamic teachings and stuff like that. But my mind is also open to getting inspiration from other religions, even non-religious people, even Islamophobia in people, or people hate religion and whatever like that, because there's something inspiring from that. Like, I use can't think of an example right now, but like I say, I get if someone shows good, like an Islamophobe, for example, who's like, fuck Islam, their ideology is fucked up, but that person is also trying to inspire good in some certain other ways, that inspires me. Does that make sense? I mean, I know what they're saying is bad, fuck Islam, and that they're creating a bad group and whatnot. But if they go on, if they're full on racist and let's want to like kill everyone, then it's obviously bad. But what I'm saying is, if there's a hope of good in them as well, where they're like, look, man, I hate the ideology. I don't hate the people. Actually, I'm talking shit. But there's good in people. That's what I'm trying to say to you, right? I've heard Islamophobes like talk shit about Islam, but then they're just trying to bring people together. They're just kind of like, their perspective is like, if you kill the religion of Islam, people will be more united. So that's what I'm looking at. Killing of Islam is the stupidest fucking thing ever, right? I'm a Muslim. I get offended when I hear that shit. But when I hear them talking about uniting, like, then that's the good in them. The way they're taking it is wrong. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, that's what I think. Like, the way they are expressing how to get to that point is wrong. Because how could you create genocide or get rid of an ideology of 1 billion people to create unity? But that end goal of unity is what you're looking for. That's a beautiful thing. And that's what I'm trying to say when you're looking for the good in something. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I'm trying to express it in the best way I can from my perspective, my thing. But this is a discussion that you can have with many different people. I try to always look at things. I always try to look at things where I can be wrong. You know, even if I know I'm right or I think I'm right, I want to have the open-minded of I can be wrong. That's where you can have discussions with other people and be inspired by other people and learn, you know, like even through martial arts, you know, just having that white belt mentality. I use that with life in everything. I have a white belt mentality in life. So, like I say, I have my ways, I follow my ways of Islam, but I'm open to the fact that my mind can be wrong, and I'm open to the fact that I can be wrong in certain things. And that's just meaning, like I say, listening to someone else's perspective. And if you see hope in that, if you see good in that, you're like, well, why not listen to that? Like that, I don't see anything wrong with listening to someone who's against your ideology or whatever you believe in, but respects, but you can find good in it. You know what I mean? So yeah, you know, that's the way I'm thinking. This movie has given me an opportunity to talk about these things. Like I say, I'm not judging everyone. It's a beautiful place here. The whole world has issues, right? It's not just one country. But there's hope, man. There's hope, which is always going to be great. That's always going to overpower the bads, no matter what. And that's where we got to keep thinking, like, you know, just keep it positive. Think of the goods, even though you go through bad shit and bad shit happens to you, like, fuck. It's going to bother you for a couple of days, blah, 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 blah. I go through that shit all the time. But then you just look at the hope, and then that gets you happy. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, I've ranted on a lot, man. I mean, this is a conversation. Like I say, if anyone ever, you know, if you've seen this and you disagree with what I'm saying, or you have a different perspective, you know, freaking hit me up, man. Let's talk. You know, I could talk about this shit for ages. I love talking about this stuff, and I love this stuff, and I love being inspired. You know, like I always reference the Joe Rogan podcast, and he's someone who always has like Islamophobes on his show, and I've never like, and they'd be like saying shit like fuck Islam, but I've never had the intention to be like, man, fuck this, I ain't listening to Joe Rogan no more. He doesn't like, no, because one, the platform that he has, it's easy to listen to. I like Joe Rogan, like listening to, he inspires me. Like having him, I wouldn't call him an Islamophobe. He believes in God and whatnot, and he's never said himself fuck Islam or whatnot. He just doesn't believe in any religious ideology. He doesn't believe to be in some kind of sect. He's just like, be an individual. Look at people as individuals. That's his thing, right? But he's never defended any religion because he just doesn't believe in it. He doesn't, you know, he's not into it. So I don't think you could blame him for that. But he's an example of someone that just he's like, look at someone as an individual, you know, and that's inspiring, right? So, you know, I get influenced and inspired by him, you know what I'm saying? Him who doesn't believe in Islam, he believes in God, but doesn't believe in any religion, but he inspires me to be better as a Muslim, as an Islam, like in my faith, you know what I mean? It's crazy. But that's what I'm saying. That's where I draw inspiration from. Anyone and everyone who's trying to do good. Man, I've wanted on for ages, man. I don't even know if anyone's watched this to the end. But anyway, guys, that was the movie Big Brother. I thought it, you know, the fact that it is, like I said, it's not the best movie in the world, but the fact that I ran it on for nearly 40 minutes, it touches on topics that's worth talking about. You know what I mean? And I thought that's what makes the film brilliant. I hope it's a successful movie in Asia because it'd be good education. Like I say, in a movie there can be education. I'm glad Donnie made a movie that that expresses these, that touches on these topics. The cinema wasn't packed. I wish it was. You know, people telling me local films don't really get that popular here. Everyone was like, I think everyone was fucking watching Meg, which I do want to watch, Megalodon with Jason Statham. I do want to watch that because I'm fucking scared of the ocean, but I just want to get even more scared. Fuck sharks. But it's a shame. More people watching that instead of this. And I feel like watching this will give people more education of certain topics that are happening in Hong Kong, which could possibly give them hope or inspiration to look at things differently. So anyway, I hope it is more successful than it is, you know, around Asia and Hong Kong and stuff like that. They're showing it at shit times, man. Like, this is another thing. Actually, I don't know why I'm talking about this, but when I check the timetable, they're showing it through fucking midnight. Midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., and then one at 1 p.m., and then that was it. And then another one at fucking 11 o'clock. I'm like, I don't know, like, shit, I don't know. It's a good movie. It's not a great movie, but what I'm saying, it touches on topics that need to be educated, but they're not showing it at good times. Shit, the maximum file size 4 gig is reached. Alright, listen guys, I need to lock this off. Fucking hell. Wicked. Hey guys, that was my spoiler review and my perspective on the movie Big Brother, Donnie Yen, and Hong Kong, and my experiences. End of the day, it's all love. Get inspiration by wherever you can from. There's always good in some bad shit, so find that good and get pissed off about the bad shit, but then after a couple of days you get over it and then you just remember that good. Try and keep that good in your heart. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, for everything, all the love, even all the hate. Like I say, I know there's some good in that hate. Mad respect. Peace. This is G-Man out. Hong Kong Big Brother review. Qibla Amara. Peace.